Before we begin, thank you very much to Tri-Rex Fan Club, not for joining the Patreon, but for sending in a donation on coffee. Thank you very much. Yeah, it very rarely gets used, but for anyone who wants to support the channel as a one-time thing, there is a link below to go to Coffee where you can do it in whatever amount you want. So there you go. Thank you very much for using that. That's very rare. That's very rare. I'm gonna have to shout those out too. I want to shout out anyone who is adding support to the channel. I want to publicly thank each and every person who does that. So the coffee users included. So thank you very much. It is Monday. It is news roundup time, and no surprise considering the last couple of weeks have been absolute insanity as far as Transformers news is concerned. It's a quiet week. We've slowed down now. But we do have some interesting things to talk about. We have some stories you might have missed. So, Transformers Cyberworld. We are still waiting to find out exactly what this entails. However, we do have a little bit more to go off of now because now we have new listings with prices. Now, keep in mind, these have been converted into US prices, so these might not be entirely accurate, but they do give us a sense of scale and what to expect. So for starters, Cyber Changers at $14.99. That puts them around where Earthspark Warrior class toys are, so no big surprise there. Armored Cyber Changers for $19.99. So with only a $5 price hike, I'm assuming they are Cyber Changers, but with additional accessories, most likely transforming armor akin to some of the things we saw in Rise of the Beasts. Ultimate Cyber Changer Megatron, $39.99. So I'm presuming larger figure because he is the leader. Probably a far more extensive version of the armor gimmick, but still in the same vein. The fact that all three are labeled as Cyber Changers tells me this isn't going to be just a big gimmicky figure. It's going to be as much a Transformer action figure as Cyber Changers and Armored Cyber Changers. It's just going to be a larger package. So curious to see what that will be. Chompin' Battle Grimlock for $49.99. That absolutely sounds like a big gimmick toy. And to be fair, they've done really big gimmick toys in the past that were very, very good. Cyberverse had a very, very good gimmicky big Grimlock toy. Now, Age of Extinction also had one that was not that great. But we tried to forget that. We also tried to forget when they tried to repaint a movie design into a RID 2015 design, and it so did not work. The interesting one is the Scorponok Strike Battle for $99.99. That is a heck of a price point for a cartoon-based line. So these days in Transformers, we have like the Generations lines, which is split into proper Generations, Legacy right now, Age of the Primes next year, and Studio Series, which is technically Generations, but they don't really call it that or point that out anymore. And that's all for like the adult collectors, right? But it looks cool for kids too. This is strictly in the kids line, and they have never produced anything in the kids oriented line that's that expensive. You know, I think the most they go up to is like 50 or 60 bucks for some of the more involved gimmicky toys. Never to this extent though. I am incredibly curious what this is going to be, especially because it's Scorponok, who I always like getting new toys of. So what is a strike battle? Like, I'm assuming that there's going to be, like, I'm assuming that he has his base mode and that there is some kind of, like, big battle, like, gimmickry to it. Either, like, firing missiles, like, targets that can be shot at, etc. Figures designed to battle on. I don't know. I'm incredibly curious, though, because they've never done a toy that big for the kid-based lines. Now, if we take... Now, we will account for this. There are no one-step changers or anything like that listed in here. I know there were listings before. I can't remember if they included one-steps or not. But it's going to be interesting to see, like, if they're really overhauling the way they handle the kid-based lines, we might be in for something interesting. So I'm keeping my eyes out on this one. We have brand new photos of the new Age of the Primes Star Optimus Prime. I get the feeling a lot of our news over the next few weeks is going to essentially be, hey, look who got pictures of the brand new ones in hand. So these pictures come from sources that do have access to the the current prototype toys from Hasbro and Takara. These are not stolen out of a factory. They actually have permission to do these photo shoots. And they do a really good job, and this is still looking like a really, really good toy. Every time I see it, I start to get more excited for this figure. These angles actually look great. Now that I look at this, like these angles on this toy actually make him look really, really good. There's a few angles, you know, like here a little bit where he looks very thick-legged, like big wide hipped kind of aesthetic, which goes in line with his original toy. Don't get me wrong. Okay, here's the Wonderfest. Here's the Cybertron Con toy images we saw before. Here we go. There we go. Yeah, he's very thick-thighed. Very thick-thighed. No. He still looks good, though. Like, I think he's far better proportioned than this design has ever been. Obviously, modern toy will do that to you. I'm getting more and more eager for this figure. It's not till later next year, so, like, if they announce this as, like, an August, September release, I'm expecting it in June or July. We have to curb that, right? So, yeah, I'm excited for him. He's looking extremely good. It's going to be interesting to see what a Titan that is this size feels like. People are getting their hands on the Legacy United Overcharge, the ironically named $55 repaint of Blitzwing. Now, it's technically not a strict repaint. The head on this toy is designed to look more akin to the toy rather than the cartoon model. So there is slight differences. Hard to notice, though. This is mostly just the toy in more realistic colors. There you can see the difference. They are very similar heads, but you can tell the differences between them. In particular, the grills on the front of Overcharge's head, as opposed to just like the slanted edges on Blitzwing's. So, minor differences. I do like how they've gone out of their way to like switch up the paint deco a little bit, so the like different areas stand out. They don't have the same pattern exactly. That's a nice little thing to include. It's really just Blitzwing if you want him in more realistic colors, you know, like dark green army tank, silver jet, you know. It's going to obviously have the same flaws. If the sword is packaged like that to keep it from bending, that's great. But yeah, if you didn't like it before, you're not going to like it now, like, because it's going to have the same flaws, like a whole bunch of tank junk underneath the wings, okay? But if you do enjoy the toy, if you do get a kick out of it, and I do enjoy it, because yes, it's a solid Blitzwing. I'm looking forward to it. I do have one supposedly on the way. They told me it was going to get charged soon, and then it's been over a week since then. I also appreciate the photographer completely ignored the Hulk hands, which are just translucent red this time. Good on you. That's what they deserve. A little bit of update from a Hot Wheels. So we talked about those during Toy-Sember. This appears to be the cab section of the Track Fleet Optimus Prime Sans trailer as an individual release in their normal waves, which is cool to see that you're going to have another way of getting a hold of Optimus Prime. To differentiate the release, this one does have dark smokestacks as opposed to the silver chromed ones on the standard release. I'm not sure I entirely agree with that. I think they could have done something a little bit more interesting to separate them out, you know, like more toy-accurate colors, for instance, like darker blues. But at least you will be able to tell the difference between releases, so not too bad there. And yeah, like, we took a look at the Hot Wheels Transformers. They're pretty much what you expect. You know, they're decent little Hot Wheel toys. Yeah, they're fine. Like, I don't know what you want. Hot Wheels are not the most exciting of toys, but, you know, it is certainly nice to know that you're going to get more opportunities to get a hold of the Transformer ones. Let's go into YOLO Park news because they put out quite a bit. So here we have in-hand images of their Last Night Optimus Prime, which I have actually argued in favor of releases like this for movie designs because this is an extremely hard design to do into a transforming figure. I know there's third-party companies that have done it, but I'm not interested in the insane complexity it takes to make that transformation work. You know, if you like the character, you're probably just going to want a nice representation of the character, and designs like this are going to be hindered by having to transform into a truck. So yeah, here's the basic skeleton that you're building before all the armor is attached. There is the post armor image, and it does look really, really good. It looks very, very accurate to the movie. YOLO Park does incredibly special work. You know, it's extremely well detailed, very well painted. Everything on it is exceptionally well done. Yeah, it's just a nice looking figure all the way around. This is in their AMK Pro line, so this will take a little bit of assembly, but nothing terrible. And yeah, look, the posability is even really, really good on him too. And accessory loaded. We see the shield, we see a hand blade, we see the sword, we see multiple fists, the pointing fingers because Optimus Prime points at things. Yeah, just a really, really good set. Just a really, really good set if you like that Optimus Prime design. Not one I'm probably going to grab for myself, but, you know, it's going to be out there for the people interested. Also from AMK Pro, here we have the other take on Optimus Prime, this one from Rise of the Beast, and yeah, he's looking far more traditional by comparison. This is the only photo we got of it, just kind of show that there is a color prototype that exists. I expect YOLO Park to be showing this off probably within the next week or two as a full photo shoot. It's looking like it's going to be very, very good. So it's nice to see that that is out in the wild. Okay, we got a few more angles. I don't know why my little button didn't work. Yeah, man, yeah, it's looking really, really good. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. YOLO Park makes some very, very detailed figures. You have to build them yourself sometimes, but they are sometimes worth it. And one last one from YOLO Park. They announced their Scourge. And this is the AMK Pro version of their Scourge, so it's going to be modified from the original model kit they did. And that model kit itself is also really, really good. We took a look at it here. And this just looks like it's going to be far more screen accurate, a lot more gritty when it comes to the paint job. And yeah, if you like that Scourge design, this is going to be an ideal way of displaying him. Obviously without transforming, but again, there's advantages to that when it comes to the movie designs. Very, very nice look overall. I am cautiously optimistic for this one. This one I might not. This one I might get. I don't know. Depends on the mood of the time. Let's put it that way. Aldi showed off the first wave of their upcoming Transformer figures, and at first I thought this was kind of the same way YOLO Park does things, where it's just a box with a model kit in it, but no, these are pre-assembled action figures. And pretty decently sized ones too. So they look about 4 or 5 inches tall. So not a bad scale. A little bit different than what's out there right now. But yeah, you get some pretty animation accurate Transformer action figures out of it. Looks like a lot of ball joint construction for a lot of range of motion. Optimus comes with pointing hands, as well as just the standard array of hands. His traditional ion rifle. Yes, very, very good. Very, very nice looking. Yeah, like right there, man, that just strikes the animation model so hard. That's actually really, really well done. Do I see butterfly joints in that torso? Do I see butterfly joints in that torso? That would be kind of nuts. RC looking good as well. This is again where I kind of advocate, yeah, like RC kind of needs to be done this way as an action figure to be cartoon accurate. Slightly concerned that her biceps, elbows, and hands seem to already be yellowing. That's not a good sign. Maybe it's just a bad batch. I don't know. It's a little bit concerning. Cliff Jumper at a smaller scale. Looks like he's not lacking any of the articulation though, so that's good to see. Soundwave looking good. Comes with Laserbeak. You always need to have Laserbeak, apparently. Yeah, Cliff Jumper's got a good scale going on. Maybe a little smaller than I'd like. But, you know, proper mini-bot, I guess. Starscream looking good. Jazz looking really, really good. Insecticons being the same size as Cliff Jumper is a little bit weird. But Kickback, again, looking really, really nice. And they're compared to Studio Series 86 Optimus. So there's your general sense of scale. And there he is in the package. So yeah, they are completely pre-assembled. I did not expect that. Most of the time, these are like model kit, adjacent. So very, very good. I'm actually very surprised that these are putting out. These feel like what Transformers Red should have been. Very, very quick one here. So a company from Brazil called Iron Studio announced that they have the license for Transformers. It is a company known for statues, and that's pretty much all we know. Yeah, they've done Disney, Marvel, DC, Star Wars, Thundercats, a lot of stuff that they have done, and in a lot of really good scales, including 1/4 scale, which would be kind of crazy for a Transformer. But yeah, it's just another statue series is on the way. No idea what they're going to do with it. Literally, at their little event, all they did was show the original G1 opening. So I presume it is going to be G1-centric, whatever it is. So you remember the Transformers Eternal War game that's on the way? They showed off the model for Bumblebee, so we can get a better look at the design and detail on it. It's kind of a hefty shape for Bumblebee, not as like portly as some of his designs. Oddly enough, he seems like he is based on his Titans Return toy more than any of the other Bumblebees. So he's not G1 accurate. He does strike a very odd look as a result. Like, it's an interesting choice. I don't know if this comes from like the toy, like that was the newest Bumblebee with an Earth mode at the time of release, at least for G1 design. I don't know why they went this route, but yeah. Eternal War in general seems like it's just kind of plucking random toys to base their models off of. It's a very random choice for Bumblebee, but we'll see how it turns out. They showed off Optimus and Megatron's designs again. Megatron does have a little bit of that Combiner War, like, middle of the shoulder joint thing that I'm not crazy about. But no, I'm curious where it's going. Kind of, we'll see. We'll see. I'm not telling you these... this is supposed to be the, what is it? The AFK style game. I don't have an AFK game. I wouldn't mind trying this one, depending on how it turns out. And to wrap it up, one interesting thing for the week. So what this is before you is the very first drawing of Big Convoy. After they decided that he was going to be a mammoth, this was literally the first sketch they did of the character, just to get a general concept started. And looking at him here, it almost looks like they went a route more akin to Lio Convoy, where you have the mammoth trunk hanging off of one arm. It looks like the bulk of the mammoth head ended up on the other shoulder. Again, very Lio Convoy in design. The things that carried over, the things that this design had all the way from this stage, is the giant horns on the side of Convoy's head and having a gigantic cannon as a weapon. Now, in the final version of the toy, the cannon mostly became just a spot where all of that mammoth shell went, along with the ears, I believe. And the original gun had the tusks attached. That's where they were apparently going to go the first time. Obviously, the tusk became the most prominent thing on the shoulders, so we had a little bit of change. But always interesting to see where this stuff comes from. And, like, to get a toy like that from such a crude initial concept shows you how much work just goes into creating them. I always find that kind of stuff fascinating. And that's going to do it for this week. There is all of the news that is worth sharing to you. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you are now completely up to date on this franchise. And as always, I will see you next time.
Analysis complete. Adapting translators to local language.
Are you out there?